Hello and welcome to Amazons et al. On Trust TV with me, Aisha Umar Yusuf. Our guest today is a lady of many parts. She's a legal luminary, a seasoned civil servant, a renowned activist, a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and now a politician in her own right. I'm sure you'd want to know who she is, so hang around with us after this short break and find out who. Welcome back from the break. Amazons et al. Is a program that showcases accomplished women who are also role models in our society. And today we have with us barrister Aisha Ibrahim Dankani. She's a lady of many parts, and we're ready to hear all about her life and her career accomplishments in the next several minutes. You're welcome to the program, Hajia Aisha.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You were born 59 years ago in the ancient and historic city of Kano. Can you tell us more about your early life?
Okay, I was actually born in Lagos.
I see.
Yeah, in Butemeta in Lagos. But I'm from Kano. My father is from Kano. My early primary school life is in Kano. And I went to St. Louis Primary School between 1966 and 1972. 73. I went to St. Louis Secondary School, 73 to 1978. And from 79 to 85, I went to Barr University. I did my early post-secondary studies in Bayero, and I read law in Barr University. I went to Nigeria Law School, 85, 86, and I was called to the bar in 86. I went to NYSC in 1987. I served at the headquarters in Lagos, the police headquarters. At the prosecution department, and I joined the Kano State Judiciary. Thereafter, I rose to the rank of a senior magistrate and got into federal service thereafter. And I moved from one ministry to another, about 6 all in all, and had almost 2 decades in the federal service.
Going back to your educational experience, how easy was it getting a good education? I mean, in those days, parents were more against girl child education than they are now. How easy was it for you to get such an education very easily?
My father was, I would say, an entrepreneur, a businessman who moved around the world. And at one time, I think he got the best traveled man in Africa award 2 or 3 times. And he was, though he wasn't educated himself through Western education, but his travels and businesses had shown him, like he told us, if there was anything that he was to rewind back in his life, it was that he needed to go to school. And therefore, he took us to the best schools then available. And because he was a successful businessman, though he never worked government at all,
I see.
Yes, we went to the schools, Catholic schools then, were seen as one of the best. And I would say we were these children that were shoulder-driven to school and back. And everything about our childhood was education. So I think it wasn't really anything that was that difficult. But like I told members of my party, PRP, he was a disciple of PRP who came together with Ala Aminu to rescue, the Talakawa mission. And education was one of, girl child education was one of what was being advocated by Malam. Yes, it was. And because he was a disciple of Malam Aminu Kano and a close ally, seeing girl child education was not anything that was difficult. Equal opportunities were given to us from home, both boys and girls. And incidentally, the girls did better.
Oh, I see. At what point did marriage come along? I mean, did you at any point have to combine studies with marriage or motherhood?
From the onset. As soon as we finished secondary school, hardly were we allowed to go to the university and roam around the university life unmarried, because they had to struggle with that, thinking that the Western education would make the girl child wayward. So it was a balance of both. Just after we finished secondary school and enrolled into university, we were married. And as early as 17, some of us had our homes and then went to the university. And because we had all the support we needed, really life was easy. And even though those in the university campus had more opportunities, because you could now go into extra classes at night and read and so on, but we coped.
See.
Yeah.
So when the children came along, it was like just part of the whole thing.
Yeah, the parents were there to support us,
Yes.
Though I would admit it wasn't that easy,
Yes.
to have to drop a baby and run to classes all the time.
Yes.
But the education we had taught us that we could not just go and have a baby every year. So we had to watch how many children we had,
Yes.
so that the education would not be that tumbled along the line. Yes.
Yes. So did you make the decision to be a lawyer, or it was made for you? Did anybody have to, pressure you into thinking you go to the legal profession?
Because at home there was this thought about, we were pushed to compete with one another.
Yes.
For schools, for homeworks, and so on. And so the discussion, like I said, was all about school, whether it was a Western school in the morning or the Islamic school in the afternoon. And each time you see we were a group of children, it was like we were competing, either, reciting the arithmetic taught in school, the English, and so on, or the Quranic classes that were being taught in the afternoon. And there was really nothing else outside that. So because of that, the thought of what one becomes became like a joke.
Yes.
And that time, I think Justice Aloma Mukhtar,
Yes.
as much as I could recall during my secondary school days, was one judge in the Kano judiciary.
Yes.
And because she was a lady, it prompted on us that it was one example
Yes.
that should
So she
be
inspired
looked
you.
at. Yes. And so because I was always talking about it, my father made a joke of everybody should stand up each time I go into the room because the judge has arrived. And the judge was caught and everybody stood up. And like a joke, it became like an automatic thing.
Yes.
That we had to I was now meant for the legal profession,
Yes.
while my brother went for engineering and others went for other things.
Okay. Are you the only lawyer in the family? Trained?
Yes, in the family.
Okay.
Yes, in the family.
So, tell us how you managed the job. I mean, when you became a magistrate, I'm sure it became, the issue of leaving home for several hours became more like a daily thing. How did you balance that with the young family you were raising?
Like I said, our parents were around and were very supportive. I think a group of us from Kano who were creeping at that time, found this lifestyle just automatically like made up for us.
Yes.
So not only I that went to some of us that were in the legal profession, but others that went teaching and so on and so forth. I remember that things like the banking profession was not being seen as something we could take up, because of the family.
The long hours.
Yes, even when I got a job in Bank of the North, straight away my father and my friends said no, that it wasn't something you could take 7:30
Yes.
to 5 o'clock or 6,
Yes.
and then you leave home and then the home suffers. So a civil service job was seen as in between.
Yes.
And I think we coped because as early as 2, 3, you were okay to go home. And sometimes the work is not that very demanding. And even though one had to give his best to build up a profession.
Yes.
But like I said, if the number of children were not that many, because I had only 2.
Was a very important
of course. You could not just come and every year or 2
take maternity
leave, and then you have 4 or 5 children before 10 years of marriage. There are 6, 7, and it will definitely tell on the profession.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, in the cases you handled as a magistrate, was there anyone that really stuck out that you remember anytime you remember those days as a young magistrate? Any case that you just can't forget?
Yeah. First and foremost, because of the way I am, I have been seen a deviant in some of the instances. And the words that strike most, one was that of one Makawa Ingla. Makawa Ingla is a notorious criminal who was known in Kano. And almost every stealing or theft that happened at Kano and in the environment was being linked.
Blind? Because Makaho means blind man. Was he really blind?
No, he was just being called Makahinga. He has this one-eyed thing, which I don't know whether he sees with it or not, but I know he sees anyway because he appeared in my court. And every item that was being stolen was being tracked to Makahinga Ingla and his group. And it's like everybody in Kano knew about it. The courts we sit, because we discuss amongst ourselves as judges, knew that things were being traced to Makawa Ingla's house. And once you want something back, all you had to do was to pay some ransom, I will call it, and then you get it back from Makawa Ingla and his group. Where he lived was known. The people around him were known, and it was like nobody was willing to do anything about it. There were not instances where we were giving seminars, workshops, or retreats with similar law enforcement agents to discuss with people, you know, who are holding these things together, so that we can look at the justice system. So on my own, I felt, this Makawa Ingla that is being mentioned every day, but it's just somebody around the corner. So I in one of the cases that were being instituted, that the bench warrant be issued and Makawa Ingla should be arrested. And I arrested Makawa Ingla without, without him being arraigned before me as a young girl, because of the evidences that kept reoccurring, you know, and I put up a warrant to say that he should be detained. And that caused me trouble because he wasn't an accused person before my court. It was only as a result of the various evidences he has that I got him arrested. And that case really helped, you know, thought in the judicial system. And even though I was being seen as someone who, without fear, went and arrested Makawa Ingla. Yeah, in fact, my husband and I were told to vacate our house.
It was that bad.
Because of the clique he had in town. That case I remember.
But was he eventually prosecuted?
Yes, that now put the public eye on the entire Makawa Ingla scenario, you know, and things begin to take shape until one active commissioner of police were being brought to Kano, who eventually got him arrested. And when they were exchanging battles with the police force, I understand he was killed.
Your late father was a renowned hotelier in those days. I believe some of the hotels are still around. But did you get any backlash in those days because people looked at that business with a kind of suspicion? Did the family suffer any negative thing in the society because of the business he set up? He was one of the earliest, I believe, in northern Nigeria. And like I said, I heard that some of the hotels are still existing.
Yes, because, you know, he had to face it while we were growing up. When he put up the first hotel, Kano Guest Inn, we were growing up then. So, but we heard from the family that one of his sisters never took anything from him because for her, that money should not be money, you know, the conservative nature.
Halal.
Yeah, it wasn't halal money because it was hotel. And the thinking, naive thinking was that hotels are supposed to be brothels.
It's true.
Yes, and hotels are not brothels. Like we well know. We all go to hotels everywhere we go because when you travel and you don't own a house where you are, the next thing is that you go to hotels. Hotel is just a hospitality industry thing. But though he went through tough time with the family and the society to fight that image, but he was able to at least
I think
go
the
ahead.
general belief then I had was that hotels promote immorality. So people involved in hotel usually have to suffer that backlash.
Yeah,
because the society wasn't as enlightened as it is today to see it as just an alternative accommodation for someone probably who is away from home. But in those days, it was generally seen as a kind of immoral, well, like you said, a brothel.
It was. But you see, my father started in a large way.
Yes.
So because of that, it wasn't hotels for people to just creep in and take rooms. These were hotels that were for companies and industries and so on. At a certain point, I remember as we were growing up, Middle East Airline and British Caledonia, who then was very prominent in Kano, took permanent rooms in the hotel. And these were not these were not hotels that were being done at the outskirts of town or in Sabanga.
They were right in the middle of town.
Exactly.
In the city.
Exactly. Yes. And he took it very seriously. Yes. I envy what he did. It was a success story. He took another one to Sokoto. Yes. And my brothers are hanging around the business today.
That's very good. So we are going on a short break. We'll soon be back with Barrister Aisha Dankani and her amazing life story. So you're welcome back. This is Amazons et al. And we are in a discussion with Barrister Aisha Ibrahim Dankani. We are going to continue now. Thank you. So now you are making news more as a politician. What inspired you to join politics?
My worry over the deteriorating state of our affairs as a people, especially in northern Nigeria. You see, when you look at, I don't need to go into the problems. We all know what the problems are. Yes. In every angle, in every facet. We keep going backwards, and poverty is at its peak. We and a few friends and some concerned people came together and we formed what we call Kano Leads. Kano Leads. Yes. We felt with a population of about 20 million people in a state, and a state that is 1 out of 36, with 200 million people, and we 20 million, which is 1/10 of that population, and the kind of attitude that our people have towards development, towards education, towards so many things that are positive, and you see the descending society where drugs and so on have become a very big challenge, and the leadership all the time is being looked at the cause. So in Kano Leads, which is an NGO concerned with Kano, we kept working on what we can do, as a people to intervene. We invited, educated, and engaged Kanawa and had discussions. And each time it's like what we can come together in hundreds and do. All you need is one leader, with a mandate to do it and do it better. So we felt, and the only way recruitment process is being made is through political parties. Yes. So we felt then if we are this concerned, we then have not to go back and complain. Yes. We need to participate. And it is that participation that brought me to the political front. Yes.
So you contested under PRP?
Yes, under
Why PRP?
First, because of the ideology PRP has. Like I told you, my father was one of those who, the American, disciples. And then everything that PRP represents is what we are looking for. Yes. We looked at what was available, and the rot, as I will call it, is by one or the other of the two parties that are the major players. Yes. So we couldn't be seen to join a bad wagon if you want to make changes, and make a difference. So to me, PRP came, was the answer. Okay. So we joined PRP to actually see how we can participate to better the lot of our people.
Exactly. So now we're talking about Rescue Nigeria project as one of the conveners. Can you tell us what it is all about?
Rescue Nigeria project is a movement, though political, but non-partisan, because many people from other parties have come on board.
Yes.
The common thing about it is this zeal and this, need to now do things differently and take this country, like rescue the word connotes, out of the pit that we find ourselves.
Yes.
We either go deeper and get buried, or we bulge out and change. What we felt is to just take the latter.
And does this project really command a lot of support? Do you think you've got the support of the right people, like minds? You really think?
I don't know if you came to our inaugural meeting at the International Conference Center. You saw the caliber of people that were there. We have consciously and deliberately decided to engage people who we know care about this country, who we know want to come together and rescue this country, who we know want to do things differently, and we're focusing on the leadership recruitment process. Because unless and until that is done, credible people and people of conscience who really want to help will be afraid to come out because the system will not allow them to participate. So we felt we need to care, more and look deeply into the issues. We put up some principles and values which we will work around to see that using them, we have changed the status quo.
Is it really national?
It is national. If you were at the opening in the International Conference Center, you will see different people from different parts of the country were there.
All the 6 geopolitical zones?
All the 6 geopolitical zones. That was why you saw the newspapers took it. Jeka, Tom, Adenoron, Otumi, and put up a new political party. That's what they reported. And
so it's not really a political party.
It's not yet a political party. Yes, we would.
Is it likely to transform to a political party, or are the members going to go back to their old parties and then just keep the rescue mission in spirit?
No, you see, the rescue mission cannot just be the spirit. It has to be what will guide what we are going to do. And wherever, even if it is in an existing party or a new party that happens to now embrace these principles and these values, that's where a lot of us will tilt into for 2023.
There are many calls for women to join politics, and there's even this advocacy right from the beginning of this Fourth Republic that women should have 30% affirmative action, that the government should allocate that to women. But I think one of the problems women have is that Nigerian politics is all about money. You need lots and lots of it to be able to contest for office and carry out campaigns and get there. And does this mission, this Rescue Nigeria project, does it have any provisions to help women achieve these aims? Because, like I said, women are not doing too good financially, and our politics is all about money.
You see, maybe I should explain broader. What Rescue Nigeria project is trying to do is to create the critical mass that is being required to bend this change. And in so doing, you don't need a money bag to now hold a party to say he controls it, whether you're the governor or whatever, and then the entire slots are being put across by you. So you decide who becomes the senator, who decide who becomes the House of Reps, you decide who becomes the councillor, who becomes the local government chairman, and who becomes this and that. No democracy that has done well operates that way and goes on good. So what Rescue Nigeria is trying to do is to say, let all those who care, like I said, all those men of conscience, and all those with probity, integrity, courage, with the inclusiveness that we are looking, and that's where the women come in. We will come together and see that competent people of character, now hold forth. That way, it is not now incumbent on you as a woman to begin to look for money to now stand in for elections. I think this is where the Rescue Nigeria project solves this problem. And what we have started doing, like the meeting you saw at an international conference center, not one person now hosts the meeting. What we do is to count ourselves and divide amongst ourselves exactly, you know, what is being required to now put up whatever program we want to put up. And that is the intention of Rescue Nigeria.
Deliberate fundraising to fund any
exactly, crowdfunding, so that it is owned by us. We want to mend and own this country.
Yes. That's very laudable. Do you intend to take this mission down to the young ones? I mean, you need, of course, you need the new breed, as we used to, our past president used to call them. How do you take this mission to the younger generation?
That is our target.
Yes.
I wasn't around last week. I think Dr. Bogaji held a meeting with some of our members, with the youth, the Christian group, the Muslim group, and then the youth societies here and there. The engagement has been on intensely. And by the time, I think, by the end of this year, we intend to make the movement come up in hundreds of thousands. And that way, Nigerians who care and who are tired of the status quo will not be looking helter-skelter as to where to go. The option in this country is not going to be a PDP or an APC. The option is going to be the credible place to be, you know, where we will really rescue this nation or the others.
That's very good. And do any of your children follow in your footsteps, either in the legal profession, in politics, civil service? What are they up to, more or less?
No, they're entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Yes, they're doing their own businesses in their own way. What I know I was able to convince all of them is that we don't have to put up CVs to look for government jobs. So none of them does any government job.
I see.
Yeah, if we will rewind, there's so much to do outside.
Yes.
And I don't think it is okay to just have children really around government jobs to take 60, 80,000 naira and then practically do nothing.
Yes. How many are they?
3.
3. Does any of them live abroad?
No.
They are all
we all live here.
Rescue Nigeria.
Yes, we all live here. We have to live here. We have to love our country. We have to serve our country.
Yes, it's true. And the grandkids, how many?
The 10.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, between the 3 of them.
That's good. All boys and girls together?
Both and girls. Yeah. I think they're about 4 girls and 6 boys.
I see. That's very good. So what would you like to be your legacy? Like,
someone that has participated in change, bringing real change to this country, dedicated to common good. But really and truly, I am tired of what we have turned ourselves to be. And it is very heartbreaking to see all the opportunities we have been having, what we are as a country, the endowments being wasted, and we are what we are. I hate to leave this country and present a passport that, you know, gives me this demeaning look by every immigration that I go around the world. Yeah, we are losing our humanity. Yes. As a people. I don't know what is happening to us, but we are not the only people with oil. Those with oil have used their oil in their right way. We have opportunity to be just any great country. And we have known that. We have dissected. I was at NIPS, and this country was being discussed thoroughly. But you see, every day we wake up and you see things differently. What I keep saying, and what I'm going to say again, is that the bad eggs are just a negligible few. Many Nigerians I know will want to have a better Nigerians, will want to be human, with empathy, with some, you know, dignity, not what we have allowed the negligible few to make us be. I want to be remembered as someone that has participated to change this country for good.
That's very good. One thing I noticed is that there's always this emphasis on the fact that some of the poverty we see, especially in the north and in a place like Kano, which used to be a real commercial hub, so many industries was the closure of the industries we used to have. So many of them are locked up in Bombay and other places. Do you have any special message for all the very wealthy Kano individuals or influential service or ex-servicemen, all the people who made it big out there and they're from Kano? You have any special message for them on what to do about these locked up industries and the fact that possibly there's a lot of manpower that's being wasted out there because people are unemployed or underemployed? What message do you have for these people that could make a difference if they wish to the manufacturing sector that's been neglected now in Kano?
You see, manufacturing sector is just one. But our attitude is at the top of it all. I think there needs to be honest conversations taking place again and again so that it will change our attitude. It will bend it, and it will conscientize us as a people. As it is, we are losing faith. I was in Dala and I chose to contest House of Reps, not Senate like people kept pushing me to, because I want to concentrate on a place where, we can micromanage. Yes. Instead of going to, Kano is big, some 16, 17, 14 local governments are senator, and some of them you don't even reach. Yes. You need to be groomed well, as a politician and an honest one to even stand for Senate so that you could now lift some local governments together. But to start with, since I am not a politician, I just joined in 2019, I felt let's start with a local government. And every part of Dala I've been, there's poverty. There's poverty. And when people say northern Nigeria has taken this and that, I'm just wondering which northern Nigeria, yes, the one I know. But I don't know any place where these conversations are taking place, honestly. Mm-hmm. That was why we now came up with Kano Leads and are pushing educated elites from Kano to please join hands in so that we can, begin to discuss before the industries come by. Because if I were one person to invest in Kano, I will also be skeptical because, business is not being done that way. You just don't invest for emotional reasons. You invest to make business and to make profit. Yes. And when people are not up and about, you need many factors put together to do so. Yes. If you are an entrepreneur and you want to invest in Kano, you will quickly get perhaps some things being sorted in a state before you get it sorted in Kano. Yes. So it is not only about you as the industrialist or the manufacturer. It is also about enabling environment to make you strive. So these are part of the issues that we need to look at. We need to discuss our social lives. We need to discuss our economy. We need to discuss, our environment. We need to discuss education, especially, so that it's not just the schools are there, but there's some quality in what we are giving the children. These, I think, are the discussions that we need to. And it's not just possible with a 20 million population and very little resources. So these are the things that we need to tell ourselves. These are the engagements that are there in Kano elites. I want to use this opportunity to call on Kano elites and those of us that have some level of education and conscience to come on board so that we can do something. And I'm also calling on people across Nigeria to do that. Like we said, the Ruana in the project of Kano elites, so that we can own Kano and revive it. Thank you. So I want Nigerians to know that, it is not about pulling down others to lift yourself up. Yes, yes. You can be lifted up without, pulling down others. Yes, we can together lift Nigeria.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. So what advice, your special advice for young women generally, young women in Nigeria, what can they do to make life better for themselves, their families, and then the country?
I think women are doing very well. Yes. For the sectors I served in federal service, like I told you, I've met them along the line. I've met MDs of banks. You have seen Chief Justice of Federation. You have seen another one held in Court of Appeal. You have seen us in manufacturing. I saw them on boards, on different boards that I served. and so on. Generally, we are not being sidelined once you now come up, and participate in whatever sector you find yourself. Where I think the problem is in northern Nigeria, in core northern Nigeria, where still we're hanging around these conservative ideas, and using religion to demean our women. This is where I think, like I said, the conversation needs to. I need to tell women that you are not demeaned by Almighty Allah because you are a woman. Like you asked me from the beginning, at 17, I finished secondary school. I married. I began to have children. I went through university education with children. You see, it is better. Let's look at living itself, how we can earn a livelihood that will earn us a good hereafter. Not just the kind of life you see women, we are being thrown to marriages that perpetuate poverty. You don't have opportunities. Your children are not likely to have. Your grandchildren are not likely to have because there's nothing that is working for them. I want to call on women to think about those things that have brought us backwards and look at those things that have brought other people forward so that, we can do things differently. I want to call on those women that are endowed to help those that are not endowed, to make special and conscious considerations and, maybe foundations and some NGOs that will actually pull women out of this entrapped circles that they are.
Will it be possible without getting the men along? I mean, you may have all the best of intentions and you target a certain number of women or a certain area where young girls are. But how about the men they are married to or the parents that do not really think it is worthwhile? How do you target their mindset?
You see, the mindset used to work. But when you look at the free women you see along the road now, the marriages, you saw the indices of divorce in Kano State, for example. If men were really people we were listening to, these things would happen. So it's like nafsi. People are fighting for a living and everything has gone haywire. When you don't engage people on good things, they will engage themselves on bad things. So I think there are men that are interested in lifting the women folk. I have spoken to a lot of them. Some of them we are working together, and I think they want to participate. But you see, we need to get the women to appreciate themselves, to think that we need to do things differently, and also create opportunities.
There's one, I don't know whether you agree with them, but people say that some of these divorces are actually caused by Kannywood. That young women see the glitter of fellow young women on movies, and some of them, of course, are beginning to live the good life, driving big cars, taking their parents to bigger houses, and that they easily get divorced, especially if they're fine and good looking, and then just join Kannywood. Do you agree Kannywood is having this negative effect?
There could be, but you see, it is all about, like I said, quality education. I want to say that we should engage women more intensely, maybe, and divide ourselves into groups so that discussions are now being geared towards common good and we commit ourselves to it.
But as an institution that's being held responsible, people alleging discussing divorce because it still looks like an easy, glamorous life for young women. You really don't believe it's having any effect on the divorce rates we are seeing in Kano?
The other movies...
and other parts of northern Nigeria.
The other movies outside Kannywood are taking elsewhere, everywhere in the other societies. And their divorce rates are not increasing because of their movies. It is because of education. Is there anything Kannywood can do to make you and I leave our homes?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so these are the issues. Okay. I think the real issues need to be looked at.
Okay, thank you very much, Aisha.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
And we wish you a better luck.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks very much for being with us. I'm sure you had a nice time listening to Barrister Aisha Ibrahim Dankani and her life story. I hope you'll be with us again next week and meet our new Amazon. Until then, it's goodbye from me, Aisha Umar Yusuf.